let me give you a little poem to introduce our new art tutorial. Twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder what you're at. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder where you're at. Up above the world so high, like a teapot in the sky. Boom, boom. Have I gone mad? Go ask Alice. I think she'll know. She told me once, we all go a little bonkers sometimes. Can you guess what our theme of the tutorial is this week? Let's go down the rabbit hole and find out. We are going to go down the rabbit hole in honor of Alice in Wonderland. And what we're going to do today is we're going to use a unique style of paper. So, here is an encyclopedia, an old school one. Okay, so what I did was I went to Mr. K's bookstore, the used bookstore, and I got this encyclopedia for about $5. And what I typically do sometimes is I tear out a sheet of paper from this used book and I draw and paint and use markers or what have you on top of it. So what I do is I take the book. Now make sure it's used. You don't want to just grab anyone's book from your family members, okay? You want to just make sure you ask if there are old books around that they don't want, or go to a used bookstore. And what I do is I find a paperback and I bend it as far as I can through the binding, okay, on both sides. And I carefully rip the sheet out of the seam. And what I do is I use this sheet of paper to draw on. Sometimes I check to see what's in the background, so I pulled one out earlier, and I like the one that says the dictionary. It talks about the dictionary, grammar, as an art and a science, so I would like to actually use this used paper from a used book as my quote-unquote canvas today. And like I said, we're going to focus on Alice in Wonderland and going through the rabbit hole. So what I'm going to do first, after I find the sheet of paper, now if you don't have a used book or anything, you can use newspaper, or you can try just regular paper, notebook paper. That might be cool. If you use lined notebook paper, that might be a nice little aesthetic to it. Try something different and unique on that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bowl. I'm going to plop it right, not exactly in the center this way, but not this way. And today we're doing a portrait arrangement of our paper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a rabbit coming out of the clock in honor of Alice in Wonderland, because it's a very creative and fun story. And it's fun to do. So I take a bowl to make a perfect circle here. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to begin my sketchings of a rabbit. Then I'm trying to find a centralized point. There we go. That looks pretty centered from here. And I'm going to simply do another circle around it. And I'm going to lightly clean that up a bit because it wasn't a perfect circle. The tape kind of had some bumps in it. Threw it off a little bit, but it'll do. Okay, there we go. Right about there. Now you're going to want to do light sketches because there's probably going to be a lot of erasing throughout this. So let's kind of eyeball the center here of our circle. This is where I'm going to start plotting my little rabbit. So I'm just going to put a little line right here. And then I'm going to extend a line up here and up to here. Okay? This is where his ears are going to be. And I'm going to plot out a kind of triangular shape here, kind of like a trapezoid, very lightly, because all of this is going to be erased eventually. I don't know if you can see that. I'll do it a little darker just so you can see, but please make sure that when you're doing this, you're doing it very lightly because it will need to be erased. And then I'm going to come down here and connect two trapezoids. This one's a little skinnier. All right. Now, in Alice in Wonderland, they tend to wear outfits. So I'm going to come out here and I'm going to do these two little curves here to create a line down here for his chin area. So he's going to be wearing a little shirt with ruffles. And this is going to be the outlines of his shirt collar. Okay. Now this project may take a little bit longer than other ones in the past, and that's fine. So take your time with it and enjoy it. This is where the ruffles are going to be here. So I'm just going to kind of outline some ruffles here. I'll fix those up as I go along. Right now I'm just doing rough sketching of this. And I want it to appear as though he's coming out of the clock, somewhat hanging over it. So we're going to just add very gently here these two curved lines, kind of like big U shapes, just to create the foundation of our arms. And I'm going to also add another one this way that is going to also help the foundation of his arms hanging over. So they're almost oval in nature with a little bit of a edge down here, okay? And this is where he's going to be kind of hanging over right there. Now outside of that, I'm going to add two ovals here and a little bit of paw area. There we have it. Okay, so this is the basic foundation shapes for our little rabbit coming out of the clock. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add more shapes to the top here, okay? And I'm going to add a little heart shape here. Okay. Now there's going to be lots of erasing during this. So make sure you have an eraser and draw lightly. On top of this area is where we're going to have our little dial, turn, wind up mechanism. And from here, And from here, we're going to create a little arc. Remember, don't be afraid to turn your paper. A little arc here. This is going to be our little lever for winding up. There we go. Okay. And what I want to do is I'm going to smooth it out here. And a little bit of curves there. There we go. Like so. And I'm going to smooth this point out here and chop it off, just like if I were to remove pieces of clay. So I would do the same there. Anything I don't like, I'm going to reshape and quote unquote mold to fix it. Cool. Okay, so we got that part. Now let's do our rabbit first before we do detail of our pocket watch. So we have the basic shapes ready to go, and we're going to add our ear. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to do a slight curve up here. Okay, I'm just going to pull it in just a tad, and we're going to go right on the edge here, and we're going to start pulling it down and out, and we're going to start curving it back in. Okay, just like this. Okay, so it kind of touches his head. And from here, we're going to just pull on the outside, and we're going to start coming right down to here. Okay. Now again, this may be slightly challenging for a few of you, which is fine. I will also post easier lessons, but I would like you to try this one. I'm going to erase right here. There we go. To get that in there. Okay. Now I'm going to follow this along this line a little bit, and then I'm going to go off it like I'm going off course. Like a train changing tracks. And I'm going to pull it right here. A little higher. Smooth it out some. And stop at the tip of his head. And I will then also erase this. Now, for the sake of the tutorial, I will probably go with less detail than I normally would at this point, just so some of you can follow along easier. So feel free to switch it up and add more as you go along. I'm actually going to pull this in here and go down there. There we go. All right. Actually, to make it a little bit more realistic, there's going to be a slight coming out here, and then a very slight pull there, if you'd like to do that way. There we go. All right. Cool. So we have this line here, and we're going to do similarly on this side. We're going to add a little arc here. Okay. this way. And we're going to come down to this point. And we're going to come outward. Slowly pull it down, nice and lightly. I'm going to come back in. Connect right about there. Okay, so this middle lines will be that we start out with. We'll eliminate those. Okay. And I'll just pull this down here and I will slightly smooth out a little bit here. I'm going to bring a little bit of a bump out here just to actually leave that right there for now. And then I'm going to come on this side similarly to the other side and do a slight little bump and then fan it out a little bit down to right about there. If I want it to look more symmetrical, I'll pull it out even a little bit further. And that will come down here. That's a little off, so I would spend time balancing that out as best as I could. But again, we're doing this for fun and relaxation, not so much perfection. This one is a little bit wider, so I'm going to just pull down a little further and then bring it in here like this. It's all part of the process. It's okay to erase. That is one thing I want everyone to realize. Art is a work. It takes time. It's fun work, but it doesn't just happen immediately. You're allowed to make mistakes and fix them. Which is why drawing lightly is awesome and a great way to perfect things. I feel a little better about that. Okay. There we go. And I'm going to also, actually these words are going to help me line things up a little bit to make it a little slightly more symmetrical. So all of this is going to take a little bit of time. But again, you do not have to continually fix it like I am doing at this point. That's just me wanting it to have that detail a little bit. I'll try to lessen the detail for you guys though. Okay. So yeah, there we go. We'll go here. And we'll just kind of okay. Okay, so see, this is off right here. So I would probably just pull that out here. These lines actually have helped me with the symmetry of it. I probably need to stop because I'll be on this forever. All right, so there's a little bit of a lesson on how to, in itself, how to balance things out. So what we're going to do now, connect these ears with that little line there, slight curve up. There we go. I'm going to switch pencils for a sharper point. And from the ear, this side, I'm just going to start pulling right down a little bit on both sides here. Now here is where his cute little eye, not his eye, but the side of his eyes really are going to kind of have a little bit of a definition there. And then we're going to just, from this part, we're going to start smoothing out our little bunny cheeks. And I'm realizing that my shirt collars are too short at this point. So that is going to be a bit of a change as well. But like I said, that's okay. That's what the erasers are for. Do not worry about that. Okay, there we go. We want the collar now to come a little bit from behind his head so it looks more like it's wrapping around here. And then we'll just pull in here and here. Okay. Sometimes I go over it just to show you the definitions. And then I will pull down here and I'll make another little fold. And I will connect it to the original collar there, which means the arm needs to also expand slightly. That's why we have erasers. It's coming along. And then I'm going to pull it down and create more of an elbow on both sides. Okay. Just puff out the sleeve here. And this is where I'm going to curve the cuff. Go. I will do similarly here. right. And these additional lines in here can also start to be eliminated. I cannot stress enough to draw lightly. Okay, so we're going to add just a little bit of a line right here that's going to go into this, like a fold. Of his sleeve. It's going to just curve a line right there, and curve a line right about there. And bring his shirt down from this side and to this side here. Sort of put too much at an angle and bring that one upwards. There we go. And connect it like so. Okay, getting there. We're getting there. Take your time with it, guys. You can do this over a span of a couple days if you like. That's what the video is good for. So we'll go this way. I'm going to start adding little ruffles. Kind of tubular looking right there. And then we're going to add another one here and here and here and here and here. There we go. And we will add one more row. Right about there. That's a little off. Okay. And a little line and a button. Okay. If you need a break, now is a great time to take one. Okay, we're making some pretty good progress here. Sharpen my pencils and we're going to move on. I'm going to bring out his paw just a little bit this way. And then I'm going to bring it out just a little, slightly bit more, just so it has a little curve to it. Go. I'm going to erase the inner area here. All right. And I'm going to add just some little lines for where his nails would be. All right, it's coming along. See, it has a neat aesthetic to it. Now we can start adding some detail to our pocket watch. All right. It's coming along, guys, coming along. You can curve out these just a little bit more. Add some definition, add some lines there. Now you can start getting a little bit darker with some of these details, which, as you know, what will we plan on doing with them? Most likely, we'll use a Sharpie. I may choose to color this with watercolors again. That might have a nice feeling to it. Though watercolors, this paper is pretty thin, so I'm not sure how it would react to it, really. It may buckle too quickly. Maybe I'll stick with markers, I'm not sure. Okay. Let's move on to the face. This is where we're going to also draw lightly. We're going to look for the center, right about here. A very light line. Okay. Center of his face. We're going to find his, we're going to put a little T area here for his eyes. And I'm going to mark off this area right around here. Because if his eyes are, let's say, here and here, and I would like his nose to be right about here. So I'm just kind of incredibly lightly section some areas off here. All right, let's start with the eyes. His eyes are somewhat triangular, so let's just go ahead and put two triangles, 1 and 2. Okay, very lightly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to curve out each side of the triangles, and I'm going to add a little bit of a line here. And I'm going to curve slightly down. And I'm going to add a little bit of a curve there. And I'm going to curve slightly downward on both sides. And I'm going to erase some of these little markings here. Okay, and then I'm going to curve in again. Kind of curves, the more curves you add, the more smooth his eyes will look, but he still needs that little black tips. There we go. Okay. Now what's cool is some of our, we can even draw little lines down here to make it a little bit rabbit-like. Some of our elementary kids, as young as first grade, have tried these advanced tutorials, and they do pretty well. It's impressive. It's all about trying and enjoying it and not getting frustrated. It's a learning process. You take your time, you know. All right, so here we have, this is a center point. I'm going to bring his nose right about here. teeny tiny V shape and pull down almost a line here. So keep going. There we go. And we're going to make it like a real little bunny. Just one little thing there and one little thing here. Okay. And I'm just going to go like this and there we go. Fantastic. All right. A little bit too frowny. Let's just bring them out this way a little bit there. A little less sad looking, just being a bunny. A little bit there. All right. So right about here, I'm just going to add a little V. Some little fur marks. Just going to get right to here, and then we're just going to give a little bit of fur line there. Okay, a little bit of definition on each side. And for the eyes, we're going to have a little bit of circle here and a little circle there and a little bit of a circle here and a little bit of circle there. We're just going to kind of color this in. Look eye-like. Little reflective circles. Sometimes you need a better eraser. Sometimes my erasers aren't that good, but just you can actually add the reflective marks with erasers. There we go. Okay, it's coming along. Coming along. Okie dokes. Now, let's see here. I could keep going with the detail, but for this tutorial, we'll just see how I'm smoothing out these areas here. All right. We could definitely add, if you want to take it a step further, you can add lots of shading throughout to add some definition. It would be a good opportunity for you to work on shading if you're interested. I'll just do a little bit. Don't want to overwhelm anyone. Add a little button down here. It's all in the little details sometimes. Can't forget little whiskers, can we? here just to give a little definition to his cheek area. Fingers are always good for smoothing stuff out if you don't have a blender. So I'm just going to add some shading right about here, different areas. Now this will probably take longer than your other projects, but that's okay because it'll turn out pretty nice if you put the time and effort into it. And you don't have to do it all in one day. Definitely can take it in stages. Having a hard time not putting the details in because it keeps getting better and better as I do it. So let that be a lesson to you guys. I'm losing my self-control because I'm enjoying it so much. I want to keep adding more shading and details to it because it's starting to stand out. More and more with each stroke of my pencil. I am going to I'm going to stop myself here because I could literally do this for hours upon hours and keep adding to it. So we will move on to the watch. Now, this is a pocket watch. Okay. We will add our time here. We'll turn it this way and we'll add a 1, 2, 3, Roman numeral 3. Okay. And we will come over here and we will add a I. And an X. Roman numeral 9. I believe, is XII. 9, 10, 11, 12, I believe so. Yeah, let's see here. I'm trying to figure out if we should add all of them. We could. We definitely could. If you wanted to go in those details. Get 2 here. Won't see all of them, but we could do most. We got a 4. So there'll be 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Probably 8 would go right here. I think that's a VIII. I like it better with all of them. Definitely looks cooler. And if you want, you can even add an outer ring to this. Pocket watch. There you have it. You can add flowers and details around the borders if you like, or you can leave it simply like this. That's up to you. It would be cool if there was a little bit of flair out here and around here, you know, flowers or leaves or whatnot. But for simplicity's sake, I think I've taken it a little bit further than I had planned for you guys, but that's okay. We will pause here. I'm going to pause. I'm going to take a sample page and see what watercolors do to it before I go that route. All right, so we'll just look at this for a while and take your time doing it. It's a lot of fun, very relaxing. Turn on your favorite tunes and you've got yourself a wonderful place to explore. Okay, so it looks as though, excuse me, the watercolors have worked. So I'm going to get in there and do some watercolors. Just do less water than you think you would need. It's buckling a little bit, but I think it'll have a nice aesthetic to it. So I'm going to go with the watercolors, and we're going to turn this on hyperlapse. And we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I have most of the watercolor completed, actually all of it, and now I'm going to just wait for it to dry, and I'm going to go in there and do a little bit of details with a super skinny Sharpie. I will hyperlap that later. Right now I'm just going to let it dry, and I will see you back in a moment so I can Sharpie it and do some details with the eyes and get the numbers on there, and we should be good to go. I'm pretty pleased with the way it turned out. It didn't buckle as much as I had thought it would, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, just try it. All right, cool. includes our Alice in Wonderland watercolor on non-traditional paper from a used book tutorial. You can use any type of paper. You do not have to use watercolors. You can use markers, but if you have watercolors, feel free to try it. You could do it in stages, sketch it, draw it, paint it, ink it, or if you have markers or colored pencils, anything you do, just take a few times to do it and enjoy. All right. Look forward to seeing all your progress. Thanks, guys. Peace.